All right. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Wellness Wednesday Wonderings. I am here. I'm Casey Washington, and I am here with Dr. Yvette McQueen, and she has graciously agreed to come on and talk about travel to Tanzania. So, say hello to everyone.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for inviting me. I'm so glad to be here. I'm sitting here trying to hit the share on Facebook. I'm so glad to be here.
Great, great. I'm going to read your bio, but I'll put on these glasses because these old eyes need them. So, Dr. Yvette McQueen is a global physician on a mission to educate about health, wellness, and disease prevention. She is an emergency medicine and concierge travel physician. Dr. McQueen is a 4 times bestseller author, speaker, consultant, CPR first aid instructor, wilderness emergency care training, and international teaching for the American Heart Association. She has traveled to 40 plus countries and counting, exploring organized medical missions to Africa, hospital training slash teaching in Rwanda and Tanzania, and participates in international church missions. She's also the executive producer on the award winning PBS travel show Fly Brother. Dr. McQueen is a wellness lifestyle coach, a board of directors member of the Wellness Tourism Association, and hosts CME trips and retreats. You got it all going on.
A
Got
little busy.
it. But you get your travel on, which I
I
love
do.
about
Keep the passion there.
I'm sure, and teaching while you're doing it. So
Yeah,
that's really important.
yeah.
So I am heading to Tanzania and Zanzibar in July 2023.
Hmm.
So I have some questions about things. What should I expect when I get there?
Okay.
Um, uh, what about the people, the culture, and of course the health and wellness part. That's very important to me,
Yeah.
and the things that I will need to do to stay healthy while I'm
Yes.
there. So first, if you can tell us a little bit about your experience in Tanzania and how you got there and things that you were doing, we'd love to hear that.
Okay. So, actually, I went to Tanzania. Ooh, I want to say 2015, 2016, somewhere back then. I went to Tanzania, and that's one of the places I worked with the International American Heart Association, where we were actually teaching at the hospital there for the nurses and doctors. Well, while we were there, one of the workers, she said, "Oh, I own a travel agency, and do you want to spend your weekends like doing a safari or something else?" So we were there for a full 2 weeks. So one of the weekends before we went did a 4 day safari up at the Serengeti. We went to Arusha, and you know I did not climb Mount Kilimanjaro. I looked at it at a distance. But we did a 4 day safari. And then the next weekend, we did a quick 2 day trip over to Zanzibar. And I enjoyed it. It was, Dar es Salaam was bustling and busy, but going up north in Arusha, it was laid back. It was the rural. Um, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the food, the diversity of the food, the diversity of the people too. So, yep.
Nice. Now we're going to land in Kilimanjaro. We're not going to land in Dar es Salaam. So we'll spend some days eh, doing the safari, staying at a couple of camps, uh, one farmhouse. I don't have the itinerary right in front of me. Then we're
Okay.
gonna then we're gonna fly over to Zanzibar. We're gonna do some touring of the Stone Town, and
Hmm.
then I told the travel agent I must have beach time, and it needs to be more than 2 days.
Well, that's a definite. If you go to Zanzibar, you're gonna have beach time, whether you want it or not, because it's all beach.
Yes, and I've seen the beautiful colors of the Indian Ocean, and I just can't wait to get in it.
Cool. Yeah. So yeah. So you're flying into Arusha probably, or
We're
Mount
flying
Kilimanjaro.
we're flying Ethiopian Air
Uh,
to uh, First, we're going to fly into Addis Ababa, and then we're going to fly to Kilimanjaro. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, so when you first arrived there, and plus you were working also, you said the people were really kind and nice. What do you remember most about the people?
Well, first of all, I'm going to say this for most African countries that I've gone to. Um, they're so welcoming to the point where you do feel like you're home, whether you're a descendant of that country or not. You just feel like home because they're like, oh my goodness, a Black American. Because I remember the first time I went to an African country was actually Malawi, and they were like, oh, we always see missionaries that look like them, but it's so good to see missionaries that look like you.
Great.
So they really are very welcoming to Black African Americans that's coming home or coming to visit. So that's why I always feel that's what I always feel like when I say it's so warm and welcoming, because I just feel like a family open their door to me.
That's great. That's great. And I wanted to experience because I've been to West Africa, I've been to North Africa, so of course I want to experience East and
Hmm.
South Africa, and I just kind of want to see, the differences, and the history is always so rich.
Oh,
Where
definitely.
we go, yeah, and I want to know more about that. Now, what do you what was the food like? Because people always ask, well, what about the food?
The food is very. You got to remember, Tanzania is um, a mixture of a little. I want to say a little. It's half Christian, half
Mm,
Islamic.
yeah.
So you got to deal with that.
Hmm.
And it's so you can actually. I didn't think their food was very spicy. Like when I went to Ghana, that was spicy.
Yes.
but but
And I
their
like
food,
spicy, and it was like, woo.
ooh,
Hmm.
right. But it was seasoned, but good. So, and I guess it's various difference. And then they take a lot of, I guess, Indian influence too,
Hmm.
into their food too.
Hmm. Okay, I like Indian food,
Mhm.
and I'm sure there's seafood once you get down to Zanzibar, and
Oh, well, it's fresh. It's
yeah,
right. Well,
good,
you got the
right out the
ocean.
water.
Was at the Indian Ocean. He was right there.
Mhm. Yes, I can taste
And
it
then
right
in
now.
Zanzibar, one of the places, what is they call that? The Tree Restaurant. It depends on the time of the tide. You can actually walk out to the restaurant, but if the tide is up, you actually have to take a boat back. So
Mhm.
yeah. Hmm.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
There is a question in the comments. Do they speak English? Should I learn some basic terms in Swahili?
I always find I always learn basic terms in the language I go anyway. Right in the city, it's going to be English, um, Swahili and English, put it that way, or you have interpreters. More out in the country, you're going to be, which I call the country, Arusha. I'm sure your guide will have an interpreter, but if you go to, say, if you go into the market, you
Mhm.
go into the open market, or you're talking to the Maasai tribe, you will need a translator for some Swahili.
Okay. Well, we will have guides with us,
Hmm.
probably most of the time, and except those, there might be a couple of times when we have like 3 days
Right.
to do what you
It's
want to do.
always good any country you go to, whether it's Tanzania versus, Turkey versus,
Oh yeah,
Brazil. I always learn a few basic languages, and that lets them know that you appreciate their culture.
that's true. That's true. So I'll have to work on that too. And Karen, who asked the question, she's going to have to work on that too. She's actually going with me on the trip.
They actually have, believe it or not, what do I want to say? They actually have it. What's those programs? I don't know if it's
Mhm.
Babel or something like that.
Travel and
Yeah, but they have
Duo.
Swahili on it. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay,
Hmm.
I can do some listening,
Hmm.
and like you said, the basics. How are
Yeah.
you? Hello. Where is
Yes.
this?
Where's
Where
the
is this?
bathroom? How much is this?
Hmm.
Hello. Good morning. Good evening.
Right.
Right. Those type of things.
Slow down. slow down. Don't understand all that.
You like interpreter, please, after that.
Correct, correct. So one thing that we're both preparing for now is making sure that we get all of the um, vaccines that we need. So far, for the only one I'm missing, well, I don't know if this is the only one I'm missing, but I've done the hepatitis duo, hepatitis A, B. I've also done the DTaP. How many did I have? DTaP, MMR. I'm waiting to get the yellow fever. I have to, because it wasn't available where I got my shots. And then a question came up today about typhoid and malaria.
So where did you go? Did you go to one of the travel clinics? One of those?
Actually, I went to Walgreens.
Okay. So, okay, as a travel medicine doctor, let me tell you
Yes,
something.
that's why I'm asking.
There's a recommended vaccines and there's required vaccines.
Mhm.
The best way is to go to cdc.gov, go to Travelers Health, put it in the country that you're going to, and they'll tell you what is recommended versus required. Most countries is recommended. Very few
Mm,
countries actually say required. Now, the yellow fever, I can't remember whether Tanzania is a yellow fever required or not, but usually if you're coming from the United States, you're not required to have it. Now,
mm,
once you get yellow fever, you have it for life. Let them tell you that it's only good for 10 years. You just
mhm.
always keep your yellow fever card. You have it for life. Like some countries say, it's definitely be if it's been up, it's required to get in the country. But most of the countries are recommended if you're coming from the United States. Okay, that's
Mhm.
but if you're stopped. But if you're going to another African country, some people do like 2 or 3 countries together.
Yes.
So if you're actually stopping in another country, not a layover, but actually stopping, they'll
Mhm.
say yes because you're coming from another African country. But most of them are actually recommended. Now, all the other ones like hepatitis and all that, that's recommended. A
Mhm.
lot of people in the healthcare field have all those. I mean, hepatitis is all recommended. The DTaP is always recommended. That's recommended anyway to just
Exactly.
live in the United States. Now, the typhoid, if they unless they have a advertised or a public notice of a typhoid outbreak, nah, I doubt you need it. You're not gonna be wading in the waters. You're not gonna be, you just watch. I tell people watch what they eat, and that goes with the boil it, peel it, boil it. If you can't peel a fruit, don't eat it. If you The whole thing is, people. I don't eat salads while I'm traveling
Mhm.
for the simple fact they're like, oh, salads are good, but what do you think they wash the lettuce with?
The water.
You're avoiding the water. You got bottled water, but then you order a drink with ice in it. So I've learned to eat warm sodas. I mean, drink warm sodas because
Mhm.
I always say no ice because ice is made with the water. Things that I know they're rinsing with now. If it's hot tea, hot coffee, it's been boiled already. Things that can be boiled, that's fine. But yeah, if you can't peel the fruit, like strawberries or something, avoid it. Uh, and so that's why I say typhoid, no, you really don't need it. Now, malaria, yes, you need malaria. It is part of the malaria belt. So I would say prophylaxis of malaria, and everyone has their own ideal about their vaccines, but there's several different ones.
Mhm.
And you can talk to your doctor which is best. So there's doxycycline, which we know is an antibiotic, but
Yes.
you're not supposed to take it while you're in the sun, and you take it like a week before you leave, and like 3 or 4 weeks after you come back. So it's a lot
Mhm.
of medicine, and it upsets your stomach too.
Right.
Another one is Larium, which you take a week before and then 2 weeks after you come back. But that one gives people hallucination and dreams, and you definitely should not take that if you're on any psychiatric ADHD medicine. The one that most recommended is the uh, uh, Melarone, which you can actually start 2 days before you start. So if people forget to start it a week before, you can start it 2 days before you leave, and then you have to take it only 7 days after you return.
Ah,
All of
okay.
these medicines can actually be prescribed by your primary care doctor. If they
Mhm.
don't feel comfortable with it, then yes, you can talk to people like at the Walgreens or travel clinic, but don't try to have them talk you into, because yellow fever is like a $300
I
vaccine in
know.
the United States. Don't have them talk you into it if it's not needed. So once again, look at the CDC. It'll tell you required versus recommended. If it says recommended, you don't have to get it.
Okay. Um, I know years ago when I worked in Haiti, we had to take, I mean, and we're talking the 1980s, and we had to take those quinine pills for malaria.
For
Yeah,
malaria, yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I know.
Quinine, they sometimes affect your, like, they give it's weird because it can affect your electrolytes and
Mhm,
your neural of your legs. A lot of people get leg cramps and things from that. So no, so and there's a lot of malaria resistant out there too. So that's another thing about the CDC tells you if that country is resistant to certain type of anti-malaria medicine.
hmm. Okay, that's good to know. I'm taking notes too as we talk about this. Um, and then I know, I think when I went to Ghana years ago, I did take the yellow fever, but don't ask me where is the
The card.
uh,
Yeah, if you know who you got it from or where you got it from, they can duplicate it.
Mhm.
Ghana is one of the countries that required it. They require it no matter where you're coming from. They do.
Yeah,
And I just usually keep that yellow card in my book with my passport.
I'm gonna search for it. I'm gonna search for that yellow card, but I know that was like the early
Yeah.
thousands. So, but when you said that, it's not one that you have to take over and over again.
No.
So
And
I'm gonna.
also because of, as we come out of this pandemic, your COVID vaccination, if you have it, I would have a copy of that or take it with you just in case you need to go somewhere that they require it.
Mhm.
It's not required for entry into the country, but some places are still requiring you to, like some museums require for you to enter it.
Okay, that's good to know. I did our Illinois Department of Public Health. You can pull a list of all of your vaccines.
Hmm.
So I did pull that, but now I got to redo it because of the ones that I took recently. But it didn't go far enough back for that yellow fever.
Yellow fever.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so I will look for that yellow card. I'm sure it's still here, somewhere. Any other health advice? Because it is a strenuous trip. So I know that I try to walk and I try to exercise, but what advice would you give to someone who doesn't necessarily do that? And we got 2, 3 months before this trip.
So, well, it all depends on what you plan on doing. I mean, you're not climbing Mount Kilimanjaro,
No,
so I don't
no,
have to
that
say.
we're not.
So, as far as safari, we were in the truck most of the time, so there
Mhm.
wasn't a lot of walking for us at there. And I don't think it's not like hours and hours of walking that you're
Yeah.
going to be doing for the trip itself. What you need to do is plan ahead for whatever your ticket is. You need to hydrate. So things I tell people before they travel, before, during, and after is hydration. You need to hydrate because that lubricates the joints, keeps the skin moist, prevents dehydration, diarrhea, prevent jet lag, along with reduce risk for
Mhm.
blood clots in the legs. So hydrate, hydrate. Make sure you're sleeping ahead of time. A lot of people wait till the last minute to pack, of course, and you're not sleeping the night before. You think you're going to sleep on a plane. It's always not guaranteed. You never know who's going to be your mate unless you're in one of those solo, business class seats. So you may
Working
not
on
be
that.
able, right. Still, you may not be able to sleep. Who knows
Mhm.
what makes you not be able to sleep on a plane? So, and if you sleep deprived, that one increases your cortisol level and two decreases your immune system. So you can't, when things attack you, you can't fight them off. So that's why I tell hydration and sleep are very important prior to long trips. Make sure you're up walking, moving those legs. A lot of planes now have the leg exercises on the monitor, like a
Mhm.
movie, and make sure you're doing those. They have like a wellness. I know a couple have you you choose the wellness plan on the little monitor, and they'll give you some exercises to do while you're flying.
That's nice. And should we also wear the compression socks?
Uh, some people do.
Hmm.
I'm be honest with you. Some people can handle them. Some people can't. I mean, it's some people just feel like it's too tight. I
Yeah.
wear them. I wear them anyway because I fly every week, and I fly and I wear them at work. And I can tell when my legs are about to swell because you got to think you're in a compressed compartment on a plane, so you do swell regardless. Whether if you always tell people, look at a bag of chips. If you've ever had a bag of chips on the ground and it's the regular bag, as soon as it gets up in the air, it puffs out.
Yeah.
That's also happening to your body. And that's why I tell people don't eat gaseous food before they try 24 hours before. Because guess what? That gas is going to bloat your stomach. You're going to feel
Mhm.
bad. You go, ugh, on the plane. So that same thing happens also with your legs, and that's why you swell.
Right. And especially when you're talking about 12, 13-hour, 14-hour plane
Flights.
rides. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So if you
I,
have a good layover, make sure you're walking in between the layover, walking to different gates, walking around the gate. With how much ever layover you have, make sure you're walking.
okay. And I know for me, I don't sleep well on planes. It just doesn't happen. As much as
Mhm,
I try, I try to lay back, I try to get comfortable.
mhm.
But I may sleep for an hour, then I'm up, then I watch the movies. But I try to make sure I'm standing up regularly.
Okay.
And just if I have to walk up and down the aisle or whatever, not
And also one of the things to prevent jet lag is try the week before, try to get on the time zone that you're going to.
mm,
So if they're 6 hours ahead, you slowly get used to that time by either staying up late or going to bed earlier, whichever whatever you try to match that time zone within that week leading up to that, so that when you get there, because most flights you'll probably get there. If you get there in the morning, don't go to sleep. You want to get the sunlight. If you get there at night, eat a good meal, go to bed like it's your nighttime, and get
mhm.
on that time zone as soon as possible.
Yeah, that's hard to do when you work though.
I
Yeah.
know. It's a sacrifice.
It's
It's
a
a sacrifice.
sacrifice, right? But I can be as well. Fortunately, though, for me, it'll be the summertime, so my job kind of revolves around the schools.
Hmm.
So it'll be easier for me to do that than
Yeah, because I think Tanzania is, let's see, you're in Central, so they're 7 hours ahead of you.
Mhm.
So you have to think at you like start going to bed earlier and start getting up earlier. Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
start
yeah.
setting the clock
Yeah,
just
just
right.
like 1 hour each day. Just
Mhm.
slowly change it 1 hour each day.
Yeah, I read something once where it said for each hour of time difference, it takes your body a day to get back to normal. Is
It
that?
depends on your body.
Hmm.
It is. I mean, usually I don't have jet lag. Usually I don't have that problem because I do it ahead of time. The last trip I took, I went to Ghana and I did not follow my recipe. Guess what I had?
Jet
Jet
lag. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
lag. And it took me coming back. It wasn't so bad going that. So for me, going west to east is not so bad.
Hmm.
For me, going east to west is what affects me. So you have to actually know what affects your own body. So
Yeah.
I know that. So coming back home, it probably took me 2 days to recover just because I
Mm.
did not follow my recipe. I knew I was dehydrated. I got on the plane. I tried drinking the water. I wasn't asleep. Things was
Just
going
wasn't going
on.
right.
I was like, okay, I know I'm not. So when I got home, I was like mentally drained. I was like, I
Hmm.
don't want to talk to anybody. And it did take, I'm glad I didn't have to work. But I sat there and go, I didn't even follow my own recipe. So,
Mm. Yeah, I can remember going. I think the worst jet lag I ever had really was coming back from Bali,
mhm.
and it was a 13-hour time difference, and it took me almost a week to get back
Wow.
to normal. I just I just couldn't get right. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said one great thing about when I went to Thailand, they are 12 hours ahead of us, but I work night shift, so I felt like at home. So I didn't have a problem with that one.
You're like an Energizer bunny, and everybody else is like, "What is going on with her?" Now,
Yeah.
what about exchanging money or something like that? Should we wait till we get there, or should we at least take a little bit with us
I
before we?
will I will wait till I get there for the simple fact. I mean, first of all, I don't know that many American banks that what do they carry? Swahili. What do they what money do they carry? I forgot what Tanzania carry.
I'll
Um,
double check.
yeah, that many American banks probably don't have it, first of all.
Hmm. Hmm.
um, second of all, you get a better exchange rate right there on the ground. I would say don't use any ATMs the at the airport.
No, I
Right.
don't use it. No, no.
Well, some people can use their ATMs, their
Hmm.
card at the ATM, which will give you the daily exchange rate, which is
Right.
okay. Some people use the local exchanger, and you can
Hmm.
always talk to your tour guide because a lot of times, if you have a group and your tour guide, what they do is say, "Hey, we're gonna bring somebody in at 5 o'clock p.m. and you exchange your money." Now, what I'm going to tell you is the larger US bills get better rates, believe it or not. So if you're taking
Hmm.
50s and 100s, they get better rates than 20s. Make sure your US dollars is 10 years or younger, which means none of them can be labeled older than 2013. So like 2009, so look at your dollar bills. There's a date on.
Hmm.
Like someone
Hmm.
once told me, there's a date on the
Oh,
your
yeah,
money. Money is minted and dated. It
yeah,
is. So
and
you look at
series,
like,
and
so
like
if you
series
have
numbers.
a 50 that says 2009,
They're not
they
gonna
like
see
the newer bills. 2000, so since we 2023, 2013, and 24. So bills are only minted like so many years. So I know there's 2013 bills out there, 2017 bills.
it. Mhm.
I haven't seen any bills higher than that lately. I don't know if they made any in 2020, 2021. But yeah, make sure they 2013 or more.
Okay.
Mhm.
Karen was saying Tanzanian shillings.
Okay,
Mhm.
yeah, the shillings, yeah. So yeah,
Mhm.
you're not gonna find many U.S. banks that fine. It has to be like the international bank. So I would just wait till I get there.
Yeah, it's probably. I know here in the city, here in
Yeah,
Chicago, Chase and Citibank usually do,
yeah.
but because it's not
It's
type of
not the
money,
usual like
right?
euros or
Euro,
yens or
yens, or the
yeah,
Canadian
no,
dollar.
yeah,
So,
no. And
that's good to know.
yeah, and if you stay in I don't know if you when you first touch down in Mount Kilimanjaro, if you stay in at one of the hotels,
Yes.
uh, uh, they I'm sure have ATM or exchange rates right there around that hotel,
Okay, that's good. Good to know, especially about
and
the
you
date.
probably can use your credit card right there.
Yeah, looking at the
Except
date.
a lot of foreign countries don't like American Express because they have extra fees. So
Okay,
make sure you have a Visa or Mastercard that you knew because a lot of places will not take American Express.
that's good to know. Because I usually take the American Express with me,
Mhm.
especially getting into some of the airport lounges.
Well, that's great for that, but
Yeah,
once you touch down in your country
they
destination, a lot
don't.
they
Yeah,
don't want
they don't
it.
want
Yep.
it. Yeah, I've been to some other places and they're like, no.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that's good to know. I have one more question and now I can't remember what. Oh, shopping, because most people like to shop. Um, Good deals, a lot of bargaining, or
Well, it depends on where you're shopping at. If you're like at a normal store with walls and lights and electricity and things like that, it's usually not a lot of bargaining. It's like that's the
right.
price you can buy.
Mhm.
If you're in the market, though, and your guide will tell you what's good for bargaining and not. Mhm.
Okay, good.
Mhm.
Did you get some good things while you're there? Some fabric and
I'm trying to remember Tanzania. I don't think I went fabric, but I think I went more jewelry.
mhm.
You know, I'm a
Yes.
jewelry person and small things I can bring back because after all these years, I don't bring much back for other people. But
Yeah, I understand. I don't either.
But my money is, I like my money spent on experiences more. I
Mhm,
will be honest with you.
mhm.
So, but I do the jewelry and trinkets and things like that. Yep.
Yeah. And Karen's asking, what time of year were you there?
I actually was there in November. I went there in November. The weather was great. It was like sweater weather.
Mhm.
Of course, Zanzibar is always great. It's in the Indian Ocean. When we went up to the safari, it was during the day. Like I said, we were in the jeeps. It was, we wore long sleeves, and I wore long sleeves anyway because of the. I do that for a mosquito repellent. And then in the evening, it did cool off where you did need like a jacket or a sweater. So you wear one of long sleeves. I use a mosquito repellent that has DEET,
Yeah.
DEET 25% for it. And I actually layer myself, like if you want to wear a top or a short sleeve top, and then I put like a shirt over it so you can pull it and pull it off
Hmm.
if you need to. That's what I do.
Yeah. And I always have some type of hat for the sun.
Yes, a hat for the sun. Most of the hotels had mosquito netting for it, and the coals that they burn at night so they can be mosquito repellent. But you always want to be prepared for that.
Definitely, the mosquito thing is.
Hmm. Hmm.
I always, even some places don't even require you to have a mosquito. I always have some type of
Yes,
mosquito
yes,
repellent in the bag, and
yes.
a lot of times I do wear long sleeves, and I also get heat rash. So that's
Oh, okay.
and you can get that breathable fabric now, even if it's really hot outside.
Yes.
That fabric is pretty.
There's so much travel clothes out there that's breathable, non-wrinkle. It's just, and I tell people when you go on a safari, don't worry about people. What I like, don't worry what you wear. These people gonna see you again. Great, you're gonna take a picture, but people, you're on safari. I would have closed-toe shoes,
Mhm.
just because if you're in and out of the truck and things like that, and in the dirt, things like that, I would have a pair of flip-flops with you so that you can wear in the showers, or shower shoes, just in
Mm.
case the drains are not, and you don't, because like when water pool up and then you don't want your feet submerged in the water. So you like flip-flops or shower shoes to wear, because you never know if you have small cuts on your feet or anything like that, and then you can get infected foots and things like
Mhm.
that. I tell people to have.
Yeah, I'm pretty. Even in it was a lot of places I travel. I try not to get in the shower with just my feet because you just
Mhm.
don't know who's been in it and how well they cleaned it. So,
Yes, yes, fungal feet. And then, yeah, I always take wipes for everywhere I go. I mean, even when I'm traveling the United States, I have either Lysol wipes and get the flat ones. What you can do instead of getting the big containers, get the ones that's flat in packs and then put it in a Ziploc bag
yeah, yeah,
to keep them moist, because sometimes they leak out, so you want to keep that moist.
true, true.
Mhm.
And I always take Ziploc bags for other stuff too
Yes.
because they just come. They make great barf bags too. People don't know that, but
Another thing you need to take is, if you like face towels, take them with you, because all countries don't provide face towels. That's Face towels is actually an American thing, believe it or not.
yes, yeah,
So all countries, all hotels don't take face towels. I take facial wipes because I just don't want towels that's used on other people's body on my face. So I always wipe my face, or take my own face towels. So you can get them 10 for $4, 10 for $5, Walmart, Dollar Store, wherever,
hmm,
Target, and just leave them there. Don't have to bring
yeah. You don't have to
them
bring them back, right?
back.
$4, right? And sometimes, depending on where you are, if it's humid, they don't always dry as well. So
Right, right.
you don't want that wet stuff in your suitcase. We've already been told though that don't pack too, which I'm a light packer anyway, but don't pack a lot of stuff.
One
Uh,
bag per person.
one bag.
You gotta think, you gotta reuse. You know what? You gotta reuse clothes. So if you have like if you have your cargo pants, 1 or 2 pants for your safari, and avoid black. I would avoid black, because that, I've never seen them, but they said they attract the TC flies. So you want to stick with your beige. You see, that's why people wear the khakis and all that.
Mhm.
So one or two pants for your safari, and you might even consider just going getting some pants at whether Target or something that you might decide to leave there, especially if you end up getting muddy and stuff like that. Because there are some that I got so muddy on another trip that I was like, okay, these are staying here. I'm not bringing
Mhm.
these home. These not going back in my suitcase.
Yeah, I've done that. Yeah.
So consider that, and then just a lot of the shirts that go on and off, on and off.
Yeah.
And then, of course, your swimwear that you want for Zanzibar. Now, remember, in Zanzibar, um, the
It's Muslim
very yes. So you
modesty.
when you're in Stone Town, you're not trying to show your skin. You're
Okay.
not going there with, like, if you're on your resort or at the beach, and they say swimwear is okay, but if you're walking through town, please no swimwear, booty shorts, cleavage like
Mhm.
that, or you will be mistreated.
I believe it. I believe it. Well, we won't be wearing the booty shorts and you
Okay,
know,
just have to say that for your audience, because there's some people out there be like, yeah, it's hot. I'm kind of
no, no, don't do it. Don't do it.
don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't do it. Modesty. Just
Yes,
enjoy just
yes.
be cognizant of where you are in the culture.
That's it. And that's the whole thing of researching where you're going and plan for it. But
Okay.
yeah, one suitcase per person, because if you're going to be going in and out of the camps or the hotels and things like that, someone's going to have to handle your luggage. So that's why I say either have a backpack or a little small carry on, but just one suitcase per person. That's what when I take groups, I say you're only allowed to have one suitcase per person, preferably 21-inch or lower, because you're going to have to handle your own bags. I tell them that, especially like in Europe when we're going from country to country, train to train, no one's carrying your bags for you.
No one, no one. And some of those hotels in Europe, they don't have elevators, so you got to take that stuff upstairs. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, yeah, I get it. And they even suggested we do duffel bags because we are going to be on one of those little planes flying to from one place to another. So they want
mm,
to be able to compress that stuff depending on the weight.
yeah. I don't think it's gonna be that small of a plane, is it? Usually from Arusha to uh Zanzibar is not a
No,
small.
we're flying. We were flying somewhere else in between.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, from one safari point to another.
Oh, okay.
So it was one of those little.
That one of those propeller planes, you may be. You're right, and they are weight dependent. So if you take too much, they'll leave your luggage.
Yeah, we read that. So, like I
It's
said,
weight.
I know how to pack light.
Yeah.
So, I know how to do that. So or they said they'll give you a plastic bag until you put your stuff in it. So,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we're working. Uh, Karen said, "For her mouth to God's ear." I guess the part about the modesty,
Right.
modesty, y'all, modesty. It'll be interesting. So, any other suggestion or parting advice before we close out?
For your audio, I'm gonna plug myself, okay?
Yes. Oh, definitely plug yourself. Definitely. Yes.
So, once again, I am a travel medicine physician that, as I say, a global physician to keep you healthy and safe while you're traveling. So, for those that would like it, there's Travel 911. It's called a health guide for adventurers, where I actually talk about jet lag, traveler's diarrhea, what to pack, how to avoid, how to treat different things if you get it. And it talks about high altitude sickness and things like that. It gives a little first aid. Travel 911, and you can get it at travel911book.com directly from me. Of course, it's on Amazon if you want the electronic version. But I suggest this if you are a traveler, and it's not one of those books that you read from cover to cover, but it's one of those to say, oh, she told me about snake bites. Oh, she told me about foot fungus.
Mhm.
Let me
Yeah.
see. This looks like it. Yeah, so
Cool.
that's what I'm gonna plug.
Fortunately, I only thing I do get seasickness,
Hmm.
so that that's the one thing I do know. So I make sure I try to get something to have something there, Dramamine or something. But Dramamine makes you so sleepy that.
It does. So make sure you're taking your own prescription medications with you and any of
Mhm.
those over the counter medicines that you like, because you may not be able to find it, or it may be in a different name because it's probably manufactured foreignly. Make sure your prescription medicine is in your own in the bottle with your own name. So for customs, either going or coming, more about coming back if you're stopped by customs and you're carrying someone else's medicine. Yeah, U.S. Department. Don't like that. Yeah, CDP doesn't like that.
No, I know, I
No.
know, but I will make sure I have it in my own,
Yeah. So
and
yeah,
make sure I don't forget it too. That's the other thing.
yeah. So have a little pouch for it and carry with you on your carry on, not in your checked. One of the other things is I don't know what airline you're flying with, but lately with the especially you're going in July, which is going to be a high travel season this summer, even more than last summer.
Mhm.
Air tags or air locators for your bags. Okay,
Hmm.
that have saved people with the luggage. Because I even in December, a group of us went to Egypt. A couple people's bags didn't show up. They could track it. A couple people's bags didn't show up for 2 weeks.
Wow. Wow.
Right. So make sure you put an air locator, air tags, whatever the Android version is, in your luggage if you're going to have check luggage.
Okay. We're flying Ethiopian Air.
Mhm.
So no, she's like, oh, we'll see. But everything else was just
How do you get to Ethiopia though?
we're flying from ORD from Chicago.
Oh, directly from Chicago to Ethiopia
Mhm.
and then down.
Yes. Yeah.
Pack your patience.
Oh, I'm sure. Everything else was so expensive.
Pack your patience. Pack your patience.
Well, I figured that
Black
anyway.
black people,
I know. I
pack your
know.
patience.
Occupations. We looked at other airlines and
Hmm.
they were just so expensive.
Yes, the prices are ridiculous, and I'm gonna say that they're just ridiculous. You go, wait a minute, how did this jump 200% since last year? Didn't you get a bailout? Why are you doing this to us? Do you want people to? But people are still paying it.
Oh, I know because I
That's
looked
why
at
they still
all
charge,
I looked
and
at
that's why.
yeah, I looked at all the U.S. airlines and they were
Oh
just
no, you can't. You gotta. Unfortunately, we fly international. Sometimes you do have to deviate from. I tell people I am a Delta loyalist, but
mhm.
sometimes
You
you know,
gotta
from Atlanta, Delta loyalists, but sometimes you do have to deviate when you go outside the country.
yeah. We did look at Delta and KLM.
Yeah, they're
And,
not gonna have the highest now. I mean, they're not gonna have the lowest. There's no
yeah.
way they're not even gonna come close to being the least amount. I
So
can
I'm
tell
just
you
praying that all works out.
that.
We are leaving a day ahead, so
Just pack your patience, be flexible, be a minimal. I mean, you never know what's going on in the summer. Just
just
be
pack your patience.
flexible. Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
that I will be. That I will be. Well, I want to thank you. This has been very informative. I took my notes and got a few more things that I need to do. I get my little checklist and um, just make sure. I don't want to rush, so I want to make sure that everything
Right.
is done way ahead of time. So
Yeah.
I really appreciate all of this information, and hopefully it will help some others who are planning not just trips to Tanzania, but anywhere in Africa or any long overseas trip to do their research and to do their homework.
Yes.
So,
Do
so
the
that is
research, do the homework, stay hydrated, and sleep well.
and sleep well. I'm praying that I sleep well. Well, after a while, your body says you're going to sleep, even if it's right in the middle of the safari. You're going to sleep. Well, thank you again. We're going to sign off, and I hope that we get to have one of these sessions again about travel, about health, whatever we want to talk about. All right, take care.
Peace and love. Bye.
Bye.